My name is Marie Sandy, and I'm the director of the Institute for Systems Change and Peacebuilding, and I'm also the William Collins Kohler Endowed Chair of Systems Change and Peacebuilding. And this peacebuilding is something that's all of our responsibility. It's a transdisciplinary position, so I have a degree in education. I'm an associate professor in the School of Education, and I have this appointment that's also in the School of Nursing. And so it's a nod to this is work that happens across the campus at UWM. Conversations and collaborations. I met the former director, and we realized that even though he's an evolutionary biologist and I'm a community organizer, adult educator, that we had a lot of perspectives in common in how we approached this work, and a lot of it was how are we listening to the system, how are we listening to people. Kurt Lewin, who is a US sociologist, said those who are closest to the problem are in the best position to solve the problem. And so anytime I was engaging in work, either as an insider or an outsider, we're looking at what are the best solutions in the room and how are we going to act on that. And how do we get comfortable with not knowing what the outcomes are going to be, right? And with ambiguity. And in this time of tremendous change, both in higher education, nationally and internationally, those are the kind of skills and mindsets that I think are really important. So we had some common ways of how we partnered with community organizations, how we viewed higher education as an emergent system, and how we wanted to create some porous boundaries between the community out there and the institution in here. So breaking down silos not only within higher education, but also between the university and the broader community that we're a part. So one of the things that we continue to do is to have graduate project assistants who work in the community for 20 hours a week mostly. These are graduate students from disciplines across campus, public health, social work, education, nursing, urban studies, letters and sciences, and they are learning practical peace building skills while they're engaging with a community organization and the university. So that's any organization can come to us and say we'd like to have a grad project assistant work with us, and we work collaboratively on developing research projects. The other piece that we do on an ongoing basis is research and evaluation work for community-based organizations. We also have Changemaker Scholars, where we want to invest where, well, Milwaukee leaders already are, for people to come back to school. And that's been something like we feel like the community often knows who the grassroots leaders are that they want to support. So community organizations nominate folks that they feel will be important to go back and gain from a higher ed degree. So it's a two-way street. We have students go out to the university, or students go out to the community, and the community recommending people to further their education at either the undergrad or the grad level. And then the third piece is really looking at how are we participating in the regeneration of community life, and through practical peace building, where community members, faculty, students are creating learning spaces where we're co-learning together on issues related to practical peace building, skills of systems thinking, having a mindset where we're learning negotiation skills, and skills related to the visualization of data for better storytelling. And the community members and the students and faculty decide together what is it that we want to learn together. So hopefully this systems thinking approach will infuse not only what we're doing at the university in a transdisciplinary way, but also in the community. There's a lot of demand for facilitation and negotiation skills, like how are we facilitating meetings? Like everyone's been at a billion boring meetings where we're mostly falling asleep, and then you go to these meetings, you have a nice cup of coffee with people you like, but nothing actually changes until you go to the next meeting. And it's just, so we want to look at how are we facilitating meetings for action? How are we engaging in deep listening? There are a lot of public speaking skills on higher education campuses, and not a lot of public listening skills. So how are we really listening to folks and then acting on our thinking together? And maybe coming from the perspective that the other is maybe right. I have something to learn from the situation versus I already know what the solution is and I'm here to defend my position. So that's one of the skills. But also just this broader, how are we engaging as a community together to make things different? How are we visualizing where we want to go together as a community is another one of the skills that we hope people will gain through this process. And again, it also depends on what people say they want, right? So we are receptive to looking at the kinds of systems thinking skills and also being a space where people can share their gifts. I mean, there are perspectives from many disciplines that, okay, we don't call this practical peace building, but are related. And how do we, build on good thinking expertise that's both in the community and the university. We all have something to learn and we all have something to share in that process. One of the things that we are really focusing on, and we're creating a gathering space for the university and community to come together to build these skills. We know that higher education is changing radically these days, and we're all facing a tighter budget climate. But investing in the kind of these spaces of hope, which is our intention, we feel like the kind of impact and outcomes will occur in a broader way without we know that people want smaller amounts of data and information. Not everybody has the luxury of coming back to school for an advanced degree, but this is a space for us to all learn and contribute together to gain skills that they may need immediately and that also are going to make a broader impact locally and globally. I don't want to monetize it, but that is the million-dollar question. I work a lot with an awesome community organizer in Southern California, Rosa Marta Zarate, and she has, she has a song that says, peace is a liberated mother. When we're in a space where we are decolonizing ourselves, right, all the kinds of institutional changes that may bind us, and are able to live our lives and flourish in our lives and be able to meet our basic needs and to assert ourselves for the kind of world that we want to live together and collectively. That is, a sustainable kind of peace. We also want to think about not just sustainable, but what is regenerative? Like, we don't want to just to sustain bad stuff, but we want to have something that is a kind of peace that is rippling out and impacting people in a positive way to help them decide, what does a liberated peace look like for me? I think people have come from all walks of life. We've had folks who, perhaps have been justice impacted, have been incarcerated, and are looking for a way of really starting or continuing their education journey. We have people who are 4.0 perfect GPAs, where I want to save the world, or I want to make a positive difference. So we try to meet people where we're at. If people are interested in becoming a grad project assistant, an ISCP Changemaker Scholar, they should go to our website and contact me, Marie Sandy, and my email address is sandym@uwm.edu, and we can have a conversation.